You're welcome back. Governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party at the 2023 governorship elections in Osun State, Ladi Adebutu, has rejected his loss at the election petition tribunal. Adebutu rejected the decision of the tribunal to uphold the incumbent and APC candidate, Dapo Abiodun, as the winner of the election. A governorship election, I should say, in Ogun State and not Osun State. Adebutu is expected to head to a higher court for redress as he continues his pursuit of Ogun State's top political office. And we will be looking at this in a second conversation tonight. Joining me on the show, we have Abayomi Oke-Asiwaju, who is the president of Yewa-Awori Youth Council in Ota, Ogun State. Abayomi, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good evening.
Okay, and we hope to be joined at some point by Abayomi, another Abayomi Babalola, this time, who is a political analyst in Ogun State. But let's start with you, Abayomi Oke-Asiwaju. Oladipupo Adebutu has rejected, like you just heard, the judgment of the governorship election petition tribunal in Ogun State that affirmed the election of Dapo Abiodun. What's your reaction to this development?
All right. Once again, thank you for having me. I think it's within the right of Honorable Adebutu, that we popularly call Lado here in Ogun State. It's within his right to approach the appellate court since it's not satisfied with the ruling of the tribunal. So, but for some of us, we believe that the three men who sat on this case unanimously agreed that the petition of Honorable Ladi Adebutu did not carry so much weight. They claimed that it was unable to prove beyond reasonable doubt that truly the election was marred with malpractices and all sorts of things that he alleged. He could not provide empirical evidences to back up his petition. And that was why they decided to throw out the petition. But if he feels he's not satisfied with that ruling, he's still within his rights to approach the appellate court and seek further redress. I read somewhere where he said his petition was struck out just because of spellings or grammatical mistakes and all that. Well, that does not appear to be the only reasons. Yes, technicalities could be a ground for which a petition could be struck out by the court or by the tribunal. But of course, the three justices agreed that there are some that the petitioner could not. He was unable to prove beyond reasonable doubt that truly he won the election and not the incumbent governor, Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun, CON.
All right. Well, the tribunal stated that Adebutu's petition was, quote, incompetent, defective, disjunctive, and lacked merit, end of quote. These are quite very hard words from the tribunal. As far as you're concerned, Abayomi, what implications, might this or will this have for Adebutu's appeal?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm aware that in most cases when there is an unanimous decision or, by the justices of the tribunal, it's usually very difficult for an appeal court to rule against what the tribunal had ruled in favor of, because I'm not sure the three men. There is a reason why it's usually an odd number, so that we won't have a tie in that when reading out their position on the matter. So if the three of them unanimously agreed that his petition lacks he could not substantiate his petition, he could not prove beyond reasonable doubt that truly he won the election. I wonder if the appellate court will have any reason to throw out that initial rulings of the tribunal. So for me, I do not see. I'm not hopeful that something different from what the tribunal had ruled about will probably change when it gets to the appeal court.
Interesting. Yeah, the PDP governorship candidates campaign organization is saying that the tribunal's judgment focused on what it calls or termed as mere technicalities rather than examining the substantial evidence that they presented. As far as you're concerned, what role does the balance between legal technicalities, which are important, and substantial evidence play in election petition cases? You know, what's your take on how this impacted the outcome of his petition?
You see, I think since 2003 or so, after the 1999 general election, politicians, those who participated in elections, have been approaching the tribunal to seek redress where necessary. And so that has bring about a new form of experience on the part of our lawyers, and of course, even the judges as well. So if you are approaching a court to seek redress, especially in election matters, you must consult, you must assign the job to someone who is experienced, someone who has probably treated such cases in the past and has recorded significant success in that regard, so that all the T's will be crossed, all the I's will be dotted, and the things that needed to be done would be done appropriately.
Are you insinuating that his case was not watertight?
It's possible, because that's what I'm saying. Because if you want to prove that what the electorate have done is not what you feel, did not reflect in the election result, then you have to prove beyond reasonable doubt.
All right.
And your lawyers must be able to do so, professionally, so that our judges will not be picking holes and mistakes from probably where you are supposed to use some preposition, you did not use it appropriately. Taking cases like this to the court should not be handled by, permitted to say, baby lawyers or inexperienced lawyers. It should be done by lawyers who have been tested and trusted in the areas of election petition. So if Honorable Ladi Adebutu probably consulted or gave out this job to those who could not handle it very well, it should not blame the judges, because they are there to assess the case based on what is presented to them. They are not to assume, they are not to predict, they are not to conclude on your behalf or show any form of empathy or sympathy to your case.
Right.
They are to address and assess the case based on the available facts presented to them by your attorney. And I think that is what...
Okay, Abayomi, thank you very much. Let me bring in the second Abayomi who has joined us now. Abayomi Babalola, good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time.
It's nice.
Okay, Babalola, we're having some issues hearing you clearly, but let's try to wing it and see if it'll work. Your counterpart on this program, Abayomi, is incidentally your namesake, Oke-Asiwaju, says that the argument by the Adebutu legal team at the governorship election petition tribunal may not have been watertight. It wasn't watertight. They couldn't convince the panel of judges beyond reasonable doubt that that election was wrongly declared by INEC. But they are saying, if you look at the statement from the campaign director of media for the Ladi Adebutu campaign organization, Afolabi Orekoya, he said that the judgment was based solely on what he calls funny technicalities, quote, which failed to consider the substantial merits and evidence tendered during the trial. So contrary to what Abayomi Oke-Asiwaju is saying, they said they submitted a lot of substantial evidence to the court. For instance, they're saying that they had marked ballot papers there that they brought to court. They tendered those as evidence before the court. They're talking about irregularities, discrepancies, and all that, non-compliance to the Electoral Act, voter harassment, intimidation of voters leading to their disenfranchisement, and all that. If they were able to tender evidence for this in court, was it not enough, at least, to be described as being watertight? Abayomi?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us, please?
Hello, Kofi.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Babalola, please go.
Yes. Let me start this. What to expect? What do I mean by that? That judgment, the presidential election tribunal judgment.
Babalola, sincere apologies for that. The quality of your audio is not too great, so we'll try to reconnect with you. But let me go back to the other Abayomi, Oke-Asiwaju, who is still with us. Let's talk about the allegations, or the petition of the Adebutu campaign organization. They are suggesting that there was evidence of non-compliance with the rules, particularly the Electoral Act. They're suggesting there was voter harassment, there was voter intimidation, and other electoral malpractices during the election. What was your observation from, what you saw and what you heard during the election in Ogun State this year?
All right, thank you. I voted in Ota, Ijoko ward to be precise. And as a matter of fact, I think in my unit where I voted, PDP won. But overall, APC won in that ward, and of course in the local government as a whole. I did not witness any form of voters harassment or voters intimidation. I did not witness some of the things that were quoted by the Ladi Adebutu campaign organization, or in his petition, as the case is. I did not see some of these things. Of course, there's no way I could have traversed the whole of the state to monitor or observe the
But
election.
you may probably have heard, in the media, some complaints. People can get information out.
See, that is what we are saying. I've come to understand that if you allege, then the onus is on you to also prove the allegation. Now, I think I read that the justices claimed that Ladi Adebutu presented witnesses who could not accurately defend their petition. They could not reel out in real terms what actually happened. I think I read that they said it appeared as if they were programmed to say what they said at the tribunal. Yes, I wasn't at the tribunal, but that was what I read. And that's why I said, see, this is not the first time politicians or those who participated in elections and are aggrieved by the results would approach the court. When you are going there, ensure that you are well equipped.
Okay.
Ensure
Abayomi, that's why I asked you, sorry to interject, but that's why I asked you for your opinion on what happened in other parts of, even though your unit may have been peaceful, but like you said, you were not in the court, but you read about it. It's possible you also read, despite the fact that you were not all over the state, about what happened in other parts of the state equally. But let us move on. Adebutu's claim that over 49,000 voters were disenfranchised, that's higher than the margin declared by INEC, the difference between Abayomi and Ladi Adebutu. That lead is about, I think, 15,000 votes thereabout. So we can say, obviously, this was a closely fought or close election. Do you foresee Adebutu being able to muster enough votes to win the election if a rerun is ordered by the appeal court?
Well, I can't predict I can't predict the pulse of the electorate and where their direction would lead to. But as far as I'm concerned, I know that where I voted, and overall in my local government, Adebutu to be precise, the governor had a large, quite a large margin compared to what his closest opponent got during the election. So if probably a rerun was declared by the tribunal, I'm not sure that the number of votes that the governor, Prince Abayomi got, will not triple or double even at this point in time, because people came out en masse to vote for him, especially in the Yewa-Awori side, which is Ogun West Senatorial District of Ogun State. We recall that the incumbent governor and Honorable Adebutu, that is Lado, came from the same, they are from the same local government, and it's not out of place that they would definitely share the votes in that place. So the vote that actually decided the winner during this election was actually votes from Ogun West Senatorial District, where we didn't present a candidate, or we didn't feed a candidate in the two major parties. So that was why the incumbent governor was able to lead by that margin of votes.
All right.
And like I said, in part of the state, we witnessed a peaceful election without any form of intimidation.
All right. Oke-Asiwaju, thank you so much. I'm sorry, we have Abayomi Babalola, a political analyst, back on the line. Babalola, if you can hear me, Adebutu described the judicial decision on his petition as, quote, a threat to Nigeria's democracy, end of quote. Would you say Nigeria's judiciary is at that point where it can be described, or its decisions can be described in such manner, a threat to Nigeria's democracy, going by the judgments so far handed out by courts in the ongoing election petition cases in the country?
Well, Kofi, let's start by saying I'm sorry, I can't help the issue of network. I would have loved it to be better than this, but I'm sorry I can't help it. Now, what I was saying earlier was that the judgment lasted 10 hours, like 10 hours. And the judges, the tribunal was able to give us line by line explanation. You don't need a lawyer to understand most of the things that were reeled out. You don't need a lawyer. A layman on the street can easily read and understand. And that was the reason why we had the judgment so lengthy and taking that number of hours. Now, the things that the petitioners presented, take for instance, like my namesake said, if you are alleging, the onus is on you to prove that this person has done this thing that is wrong. The judges, the tribunal judges were of the opinion that the petitioners did not give enough proof to say that, for instance, if somebody accused me of saying, Abayomi stole my goat, and I might not say anything in court as the defendant, it is left for the petitioner to say, this is the color of my goat. This is where I kept my goat. This is the last time I saw my goat. You can't just go to the court and tell the judges that, because I saw Abayomi eating goat meat, that was why I believed he is the one that stole. You did not prove. So many of these allegations, like one of their expatriates that they brought in as their witness, brought a video which he was not the one that made the video. And when he was being asked questions about that particular video, he was unable to prove anything. Like we all know, the judges will tell you that, like what we heard in the presidential tribunal judgment, that the court is not a marketplace where the judges will go and pick evidences. It is what you present, if it is tenable enough and convincing enough. And with what went out in that governorship tribunal, in the opinion of the judges, the petitioners did not do enough to say, okay, let me give you another instance. There was this case of...
We've run out of time. Abayomi, I'm so sorry about that. We understand, that the technical difficulties happen from time to time, but I'm sure we'll have an opportunity to look at this case as it progresses again. But thoroughly enjoyed your few minutes of conversation. But thank you so much. Abayomi Babalola, political analyst in Ogun State, and of course Abayomi Oke-Asiwaju as well, president of Yewa-Awori Youth Council in Ota, Ogun State. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. All right, and that's the size of our package right here on Politics HQ. We'll keep our eyes on the big political stories in Nigeria. And of course, you can be sure that tomorrow we'll bring you something equally interesting. My name is Kofi Bartels. Thank you very much for your time. Good night.